Tammy,
What are you doing?
you married the wrong...
Before we begin tonight's story, I want you to do something. Look at your partner sleeping next to you. Really look. Notice how their chest rises and falls. Now, listen to their breathing. Now, ask yourself, when was the last time you actually watched them sleep? When was the last time you were certain they were just human? Keep that thought. You will need it. Because what I'm about to tell you, it happened to a man just like you, on a street just like you. This is Baba Adeyemi. He knows things about love that most people don't want to hear. Tonight, he will tell you about Peter Adebayo and his perfect wife. Everyone in Lagos said Peter was lucky. His wife Tammy was beautiful. She had smooth dark skin and bright white teeth. She cooked like a dream. She never complained. She always smiled. But Baba Adeyemi had lived long enough to know something important. Perfect isn't human. Peter worked as an accountant in Lagos. He counted numbers all day, long columns of figures that made his eyes hot. He came home tired every evening. His shoulders ached, his head pounded. But Tammy was always waiting. Every morning, Tammy made his coffee exactly right. 2 sugars, splash of cream. Peter had never told her how he liked his coffee, but she knew. She always knew. She pressed his shirt until they looked new. She cooked his favorite breakfast, plantain and eggs, perfectly seasoned. The kitchen always smelled like heaven. "Have a good day, baby," Tammy would say sweetly. "I love you." "Love you too," Peter would reply. And he meant it. Who wouldn't love a perfect wife? But there were small things, strange things that made Peter's skin crawl when he think about it for a long time. Tammy hummed old songs in languages Peter didn't know. The words sounded ancient, older than Yoruba, older than Igbo, older than any language Peter had ever heard. The melodies made his teeth ache. Their food never gets spoiled. Peter would buy bananas on Monday. On Sunday, they were still fresh, yellow and perfect. Bread stayed soft for weeks. Milk never went sour. Even meat stayed fresh without a refrigerator. Electronics stopped working around Tammy. Phones died when she touched them. Computers crashed when she walked by. The TV turned off by itself when she entered the room. But Tammy would just smile and light candles. And she never gets sick. Not once. Peter caught malaria twice that year. He lay in bed burning with fever. Tammy took care of him. She never caught it. She didn't even sneeze. She never even looked tired. Perfect wife, perfect marriage, perfect life, but perfect isn't human. Peter's sister Kemi came to visit one Saturday. She brought her 3 children. Little Bayo was 8 years old, smart and loud and full of energy. Shade was just 6. She loved to dance and sing. Baby Tolu was only 2 years old. He never stopped moving. They ate Tammy's jollof rice and fried plantain. The food was incredible, better than any restaurant, better than their mother used to make, better than anything human hands should be able to create. "Your wife's food is amazing," Kemi whispered to Peter in the kitchen. She licked her fingers. But what?" Peter asked. "I feel so tired after eating it," Kemi said. Her eyes were heavy. "Like, I want to sleep for days, like something is pulling the energy right out of me." Peter looked at his nephew and niece in the living room. After dinner, they had been playing loudly, running around, laughing and shouting like children do. Then one by one, they stopped playing. Their eyes got heavy. Their movements got slow. They curled up on the sofa like sleepy cats. Even baby Tolu fell asleep. Tolu never slept during the day. He was always crying, always moving, always getting into trouble. But now, he slept like an angel, like he was drugged. "This isn't normal, Peter," Kemi said. She looked worried, scared. "Even children don't just fall asleep like this, not all at once." "She's just a good cook," Peter said. He didn't want to hear bad things about Tammy. He loved her. She was perfect. Peter met his friend Emeka at their usual bar on Friday night. Cold star beer and spicy pepper soup. They talked about work and football and life. Normal things, human things. But Peter's mind kept wandering. He was just thinking about home, his wife, and food that never gets spoiled. Just then, Emeka said, "Your wife sounds too good to be true, my friend." He was just joking, but his eyes were serious. "You sure say she's human?" Peter's beer went down wrong. He coughed and sputtered. "What do you mean?" "My grandmother used to tell stories," Emeka said. His voice got quiet. Other people in the bar couldn't hear him. "About spirits that look like beautiful women. They marry lonely men. They take care of them until they don't." "And what happens then?" Peter asked. He tried to sound like he was joking, but his hand shook as he lifted his beer. "They eat them," Emeka said simply. "Not all at once. Slowly, they drain the life out of them, bit by bit, until there is nothing left but an empty shell." The laughter died in Peter's throat. "That's just old stories. Superstition." "Maybe," Emeka said. He took a long drink of beer. "But those old stories, they exist for a reason. Our grandmothers weren't stupid. They knew things we've forgotten. Besides, haven't you noticed? You look thinner than you used to. Tired, like something is eating you from the inside." Peter looked at his reflection in the bar mirror. Emeka was right. His cheeks were hollow. His eyes had dark circles. He looked like a sick man, like a dying man. That night, it rained hard. Peter came home wet and cold. His clothes stuck to his skin like a second skin. When he got home, Tammy was waiting by the door. She had hot tea ready. Dry clothes were laid out on the bed. During the storm, Peter watched Tammy stand by the window. Lightning splashed across the sky like angry fingers. But Tammy wasn't afraid. She looked happy, like she was listening to music only she could hear, like the storm was singing her lullaby. The lightning reflected in her eyes. For just a moment, her eyes looked different, not brown like usual, not human, yellow, like a cat's eye, like a predator's eyes, like something that hunted in the dark. But when Peter blinked, they were brown again, beautiful and human and normal. He told himself he was seeing things. The rain was playing tricks with the light. The storm was making him paranoid. But deep down, in the place where truth lives, he knew something was wrong with his perfect wife. When Peter was no longer able to take things that made him feel crazy, he started keeping notes on his phone. Day 1. Tammy's side of bed was cold at 3 a.m. like ice. But she was lying right there, next to him, breathing, moving, but cold as death. Day 3. He found her talking to plants in the garden. At midnight, in the rain, she was speaking in that old language. The plants seemed to listen. Day 7. All the electronics in the house stopped working at the same time. Phones, TV, laptop, even the microwave. Tammy was humming when it happened. Day 10. He caught her eating raw meat in the kitchen. She said it was for cooking, but she was eating it with her hands like an animal. Day 12. She doesn't blink. Peter watched her for an hour. She never blinked for once. Peter read his notes over and over. Each one seemed crazy by itself, but together they painted a picture he didn't want to see. At night, Peter heard sounds on the roof, footsteps, scratching. But when he looked outside, he saw nothing. The sound always happened at 2 a.m., always when the moon was bright, always when Tammy was sleeping beside him, or when she was pretending to sleep. Peter decided to stay awake and keep watch. And on Tuesday night, he saw the truth. Tuesday night, Peter couldn't sleep. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling. His mind was full of questions that had no good answers. Tammy breathed softly beside him, in and out, steady and slow. like she was really asleep, but Peter had noticed something. Her breathing never changed. It was too perfect, too regular, like she was pretending. At exactly 2 a.m., the breathing stopped. Peter kept his eyes closed, didn't move. He made his own breathing slow and steady. He felt the bed shift as Tammy got up. Her feet made no sound on the floor. She moved like a ghost, like she weighed nothing at all, like she was floating. Peter cracked his eyes open just a little, just enough to see. Tammy was walking to the window, but she moved differently than usual. Too smooth, too quiet. Her joints bent in ways that looked wrong, like she had too many bones. She opened the window. Night air came in cold and damp. It smelled like rain and something else. Something wild. Something that had never been civilized. Peter wanted to call out. He wanted to ask where she was going, but something deep inside told him to stay quiet, to watch, to learn the truth, no matter how terrible it was. Tammy climbed out the window. They lived on the second floor, 20 feet above the ground. Peter held his breath. He waited to hear Tammy hit the ground, waited to hear her scream, waited to hear her bones breaking on concrete. But there was no sound, nothing at all. Peter's heart hammered against his rib like a tripped bird. He crept to the window. Slowly, quietly, he looked down at the ground below. Tammy wasn't there. No body, no blood, nothing. He looked up. She wasn't on the roof either. Then he saw her. She was on the wall. Tammy was climbing the brick wall of their house. Her fingers and toes found tiny cracks on the brick. Cracks too small for normal hands and feet to fit in. Cracks that shouldn't be able to hold a person's weight. But she wasn't a person, was she? She climbed up, not down, up towards the roof. Her movements were wrong. Too fast, too sure, like a spider, like something that was born to climb walls in the dark. Her fingers were long, longer than they should be. Her nails were sharp. They dug deep into the brick like claws. Peter's heart hammered in his chest. This wasn't possible. People can't climb walls. People can't stick to brick like insects. People can't move like that. But Tammy wasn't people, was she? When Tammy reached the roof, she stood up, still as a statue. She looked out over the neighborhood, like she was watching for something or someone, like a guard, like a predator. Then she turned around and looked straight at Peter, straight through the window, straight into his eyes. Her head turned too far, like an owl. Her neck wasn't supposed to bend that way. No human neck could bend that way. Her eyes caught the moonlight. They glowed yellow, bright yellow, not human eyes, animal eyes, predator eyes, hunger eyes. Peter gasped. The sound was loud on the quiet night. Tammy smiled. Her teeth looked too sharp, too many like a shark mouth full of razor. Then she moved, fast, faster than any human could move. She was coming for him. Peter ran into the dark bedroom. His hand shook as he felt for the bathroom door. His fingers slipped on the handle. He slammed the door behind him, turned the lock. The metal was cold under his fingers, cold like death. This isn't real, he whispered to himself. This isn't real. I'm dreaming. I'm sick. But his eyes had seen what they had seen. His wife had climbed the wall like a spider. Her eyes had glowed like an animal. Her teeth had been sharp like knives. Soft knocking came to the door. Gentle, patient, like a loving wife worried about her husband. Peter, Tammy's voice was sweet and concerned. Normal, human. Baby, are you okay? Peter's blood went cold. How was she inside already? She had just seen her on the roof. The window was still open. How could she be back so fast? Unless she hadn't come through the window. Unless she had come through something else. I'm fine, Peter said. His voice cracked like a teenage boy. You sound upset, Tammy said through the door. Her voice was so caring and so perfect. Let me help you, baby. Let me take care of you. The door handle turned. Slowly, quietly. Peter stared at it with wide eyes. He had locked the door. He had turned the handle. But the handle was turning anyways. I said I'm fine, Peter shouted. His voice echoed off the bathroom tiles. The door handle stopped turning. The knocking stopped. Okay, baby, Tammy said finally. Her voice was still sweet, still caring, still perfect. I'll be in bed when you are ready. I love you. Peter heard her footstep walking away. Soft step on the wooden floor. Normal step and human step. He stayed in the bathroom for an hour. He sat on the toilet seat and shook. His whole body trembled like he had fever. He tried to make sense of what he had seen. Maybe he was dreaming. Maybe he was sick. Maybe the stress from work was making him see things. Maybe Emeka's stories had gotten into his head. Maybe, just maybe, but his heart knew the truth. When he finally came out, Tammy was in bed. She was sleeping or pretending to sleep. Her breathing was slow and regular. That afternoon, Peter found sleeping pills in his bathroom cabinet. Pills he had never bought. The bottle had his name on it. The label was from a pharmacy he had never visited. Oh, baby, Tammy explained. That's your medication. The doctor called them in. Dr. Debawale, you've been sleepwalking. I don't sleepwalk, Peter said. I've never sleepwalked in my life. You do now, Tammy said gently. She looked so sad and so worried. Last night, you tried to climb out of the window. I had to stop you. I was so scared you would fall and hurt yourself. She showed him a doctor's note. It was on official paper. His name was at the top. But Peter had never been to that doctor. He had never seen that man before in his life. This isn't right, Peter said. His hand shook as he held the paper. I never went to see this doctor. You did, baby, Tammy said. Her voice was soothing, like a mother talking to a sick child. Peter's phone rang. It was Emeka. Your wife called me, Peter. She's concerned about you. She says you're having episodes, seeing things that aren't there. What did she tell you? Peter asked. That you tried to jump out the window last night. That you think she's some kind of monster. Peter, my friend, you need help. Then Kemi called. Tammy thinks you need help, Peter. His sister said. She sounded scared. She says you've been acting strange, seeing things that aren't there, talking about demons and spirits. She's lying, Peter said, but even to his own ears, he sounded crazy. She's worried about you, Kemi said. She loves you. She's trying to help you. Everyone believed Tammy, the perfect caring wife, and nobody believed Peter. His friend thought he was sick. His family thought he was having a breakdown. Even his own sister trusted his wife more than him. Tammy had isolated him perfectly, made everyone think he was the problem, made him doubt his own eyes. But Peter knew the truth. He had seen her climb that wall. He had seen her glowing eyes. He had seen her sharp teeth. His perfect wife was something else, something that wasn't human. And she was very, very dangerous. The question was, what did she want? Peter couldn't take it anymore. The sleepless nights, the strange occurrences, the way everyone thought he was going mad. He needed help, real help. But where do you go when your wife might not be human? Peter waited until Tammy left. She said she was going to the market. Didn't kiss him goodbye. Just smiled like everything was fine and walked out with her soft slippers, tapping against the floor. He listened until the gates clicked. Then silence. He started searching, not like a madman, no. Carefully and slowly, like someone who didn't want to be caught. He checked her wardrobe, neat as always, nothing strange, just wrappers, dresses, perfumes. He opened her side drawer, lip balm, earring, old church programs, and nothing usual. But something kept pushing him, a quiet thought. Check under the bed. He lay flat, used a torchlight. At first, just dust. Then his hand brushed something hard, a box, wooden, a little dusty, no lock, just a plain old box with carvings on the lid, small lines that looked like waves. He pulled it out, slowly. His heart thumped as he opened it. Inside were photographs, old papers, folded letters, a small silver ring. Peter sat on the floor. His legs were weak. He picked the first photo, a young woman smiling with a birthday cake. She had a kind face. He turned the back over. Nneka Adebayo, age 24. The name felt familiar, too familiar, but he couldn't place it yet. Next was a folded obituary, printed in soft blue ink. In loving memory, Nneka Adebayo died 7 years ago. Cause of death, self-inflicted wound, buried at Yaba Cemetery. Peter's heart slowed down. Cold sweat gathered at his back. Then he saw another photo. Tammy, younger, braided hair, no makeup. She was standing beside Nneka. They were smiling at each other. That was when he realized it. They were sisters. Peter opened one of the letters. The handwriting was shaky. You said I was special. You said I was your future. Then you ghosted me. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I lost my job, my mind, everything. I wish I never met you. Another letter, another woman. I waited 3 hours for you at the bus park. You never came. You never even explained. I went home that night and cut off all my hair. Peter's finger trembled. There were 6 letters, 8, 10 different women. Some names he barely remembered. Some he didn't remember at all. But the one he would never forget now was Nneka. That was when it hit him. Tammy didn't just find him by chance. She chose him. She knew everything. She planned this. Peter sat on the cold floor for hours. The sun moved across the sky, but he didn't move. His hand held the box like it was a coffee, and inside it was everything he thought he had gotten away with. Kemi came to visit again. She brought Peter some fruit and bowl of soup. She walked into the kitchen and stopped. Peter, what happened to your eyes? He didn't answer. He just stood there like someone who forgot how to talk. He walked to the living room, sat down, then said, Kemi, please sit. I need to show you something. She sat beside him. He placed the wooden box on the table. She opened it slowly. At first, she smiled. Then her face changed. She saw the picture. She read the letters. Her mouth stayed open for a long time. Then she asked softly, Peter, do you remember Nneka? Peter nodded. His voice was low. Yes, I remember her crying at my door one night. I told her to stop acting desperate. That was the last time I ever saw her. Kemi blinked slowly. Nneka was Tammy's sister. The room went silent. Peter looked down at his hand. I didn't know. Kemi shook her head. You didn't care to know? She held up the photos of Tammy and Nneka. You can see she did not just fall in love with you. She came for justice. Peter whispered, but how did she know everything I like? The coffee, the way I eat, how? Kemi placed the box gently back down. She studied you, just like you used to study women. You looked for weakness. She looked for pattern. Peter rubbed his eyes with both hands. So she was never real? Kemi touched his shoulders. She was real, Peter. That's the scary part. She was real. But she gave up her own softness just to reflect your own cruelty back to you. Peter began to shake. I thought she was a demon, he said. Kemi looked at him straight in the eyes. She's not a demon. She's your mirror. Peter waited in the living room that night. He did not eat, did not turn on the TV. He just sat still. The gate creaked open. Tammy walked in with 2 shopping bags and her usual soft smile. Tomatoes were expensive today, she said casually. Do you want plantain for dinner? Peter didn't answer. His voice had gone somewhere far. Sit, he said instead. Tammy paused. Didn't argue. She placed the bags down, wiped her hands on her wrapper, and sat across from him. Peter pushed the box forward slowly. She didn't flinch. Why me? He asked. Tammy looked at the box. Then she looked at him. And for the first time since they met, she dropped the smile. Her voice was soft, calm, unshaken. Because you don't even remember her. Tammy opened the box, pulled out Nneka's photo, held it with both hands like it was made of glass. She cried for you. You laughed. She begged you. You blocked her. And she died. Peter's mouth opened slightly, but no words came out. I was 13 when she died, Tammy continued. My big sister, my best friend, the one who combed my hair and told me boys were dangerous. She looked at Peter, and then she met you, and all the light left her. Peter blinked fast. His throat was dry. I didn't kill her, he said. No, Tammy agreed. You didn't. You just walked away and left her standing in the dark. She placed the photo back in the box gently, then leaned back in her chair. I watched you, she said. After she died, I watched you move on like nothing happened. New job, new car, new girls. She tapped the table slowly with her fingers calm, precise. So I decided, if you are going to destroy people quietly, I will destroy you quietly too. Peter's eyes welled with tears. So this whole time, all of it was a plan, Tammy nodded. Not with hate, not with violence, with reflection. She looked around the house, the clean walls, the candle shelf, the untouched microwave. I learned everything you love. Then I gave it to you. I became the woman you said you always wanted. Good food, no complaint, loyal, sweet. She leaned forward. And then I made you question everything. Your eyes, your sleep, your memory, your sanity. Peter looked away. But Tammy wasn't angry. Her voice was still peaceful. I never used magic, she said. You did this to yourself. Guilt did this to you. Peter's hands were shaking now. He reached for her wrist gently. Please, tell me this wasn't all fake. Tell me you loved me a little. Tammy looked at his hand. Then she looked into his eyes. I love the version of you that could have said sorry, but he never came. She stood up slowly. I'm not here to kill you, Peter. I'm not a witch. I'm not a demon. I'm just what you left behind in other women, brought back to your life. Peter stood too. Tammy, please, don't go. Please, we can fix it. She gave a small quiet smile. No, you fix it by carrying this lesson. You fix it by remembering that even silence has a voice. She packed up her handbag. You won't see me again, she said, but you will see pieces of me in every woman you meet. Every time you fall in love, you will wonder, is she real? Or is she here for payback? She walked out the door and looked back at him one more time. I didn't destroy you, Peter. You finally saw yourself clearly and it broke you. Then she walked away. Peter didn't chase her. He just sat down. The house was too quiet. Days passed. Tammy never came back. Her clothes were gone. Her toothbrush gone. Even the tiny anklet she used to leave by the side of the bed gone. She had left like a whisper. No message, no drama, no fight, just disappearance. Peter stopped going to work. He stopped answering his phone. He sat in the living room most nights, replaying everything. The food, the laughter, the lies, the wall, the climb, the glowing eyes, or maybe they weren't glowing. Maybe it was just his guilt. He couldn't tell anymore. Didn't even know what was real now. What if she never climbed the wall? What if he imagined it all? What if the sharp teeth were just from a dream? But whether it was real or not didn't matter. He started cleaning house slowly, as if wiping away her fingerprints would bring peace. Tammy was gone, but she had left a gift behind, the gift of seeing himself, and it burned more than any spiritual fire ever could. At night, Peter still woke up around 2 a.m., not because of a sound, but because of the silence, because that was when he used to hear her breathing beside him. That slow, steady breathing that never changed. That was when he used to wonder if she was even human. Now, he wondered if he ever was. 3 months later, Peter sat alone in a quiet bar on a Thursday night, the kind of place with one tired fan, one flickering light bulb, and music playing low from an old speaker. Not the kind of place you come to drink, just the kind you enter when you don't want to be seen. He sat at the back. His shirts were loose, his beard now all grown, his eyes older, not by age but by memory. He wasn't drunk, didn't drink anymore. He just sat with a glass of water and watching. 3 young men were talking at the next table, loud and laughing, sharp jokes, calling women over sabi, clingy, emotional. They were bragging about how many girls they had blocked, about how one girl cried on a voice note, about how another begged them not to leave. Peter watched them quietly, didn't interrupt, until one of them said something that made his chest tighten. Bro, if you want to keep her, gaslight her. That thing works. I swear, make her think she's the problem. Then she will behave. The boys laughed. Peter stood up, not quickly, just calmly. He walked over to their table. His steps were slow. Sorry to interrupt, he said, his voice low. They looked up surprised. The oldest one tried to smile. Oga, we no mean I'm like that, so just play talk. Peter didn't smile back. He reached into his pocket and pulled out something, a photo. He placed it on the table. It was Tammy, the one with her smiling eyes, soft, wearing the white blouse she always ironed perfectly. In that photo, she looked like peace itself. The boys leaned in confused. Peter said just one thing. If she ever finds you, don't run. Just remember who you left crying. Then he walked out, didn't look back, didn't explain. The laughter at the table stopped. The boys sat quietly, holding the photo like it burned. Outside, the night air felt cool. Peter didn't feel better, but he felt honest. He had learned something, that ghosts aren't always the dead. Sometimes they are the living women men refuses to acknowledge, the hearts we pretend didn't break. And sometimes those women come back, not with fire, but with a lesson. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to share this story with your family and your friends who might love to see them. Till I see you again in my next story. Goodbye.